My DNA test results said I'm 2% wolf. I laughed when I first saw it. I'm not laughing anymore. I'm standing in my backyard right now, and I have no idea how I got here. The sun's just starting to come up, painting the sky the sick orange color, and my bare feet are caked in mud. There's dirt under my fingernails, so much dirt it looks like I've been digging a grave. My pajama pants are torn at the knees, and when I look down at my hands, they're shaking so badly I can barely hold my phone. I check the time. It's 5:47 a.m. The last thing I remember is going to bed at midnight. That's almost 6 hours I can't account for. 6 hours of my life just gone. I turn around slowly, looking at my house. The back door is wide open, swinging slightly in the morning breeze. I didn't open that door. At least, I don't remember opening it. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, is staring at me from her kitchen window. When our eyes meet, she quickly closes her curtains. Yeah. This is bad. This is really bad. But to understand how I got here, I need to take you back 3 months. Back to when this whole nightmare started with a stupid party game and a DNA test kit. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy werewolf stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. Let me tell you how a $99 ancestry kit ruined my life. 3 months ago, I was normal. My name's Jake Morrison, I'm 28, I work in IT support, and the most exciting thing in my life was deciding between pizza or Chinese food for dinner. My girlfriend Emma was always trying to get me to be more spontaneous, more adventurous. She's one of those people who does hot yoga and goes rock climbing on weekends while I'm at home playing video games. So when my buddy Marcus threw this party at his place, Emma practically dragged me there. I'm not big on parties. Too many people, too much noise, too much pretending to care about someone's opinion on cryptocurrency. But Emma insisted. Come on, Jake, she said, pulling me through Marcus's front door. You need to socialize with people who aren't NPCs. Marcus's apartment was packed. Music was thumping, people were laughing, and someone had set up a table full of those DNA ancestry test kits. You know the ones, spit in a tube, mail it off, find out you're 3% Scandinavian or whatever. Dude, Jake. Marcus appeared with 2 beers, shoving one into my hand. You gotta do the DNA thing. Everyone's doing it. We're making a whole thing out of it, whoever has the weirdest ancestry mix wins $100. That's stupid, I said. Emma elbowed me. Don't be boring. It could be fun. It's a scam. They sell your genetic data to insurance companies. Always with the conspiracy theories, Marcus laughed. Live a little, man. What's the worst that could happen? Famous last words, right? So I did it. I spit in the stupid tube, sealed it up, wrote my name on the label, and forgot about it. The party continued, we ordered pizza, I had too many beers, and Emma and I took an Uber home around midnight. It was a completely normal, forgettable evening. For weeks later, I got an email. Subject line, your DNA results are ready. I was at work, bored out of my mind, helping some executive who couldn't figure out why their email wasn't working. Turns out they'd been typing their password wrong for 3 days. When I finally got them sorted, I checked my personal email and saw the notification. I clicked the link, logged into the Ancestry website, and waited for the results to load. Most of it was exactly what I expected. 42% British and Irish, 28% German, 15% French, 8% Italian. Boring European mutt, basically. I started scrolling through the percentages, already planning to text Marcus that he could keep his $100. Then I saw it. Right at the bottom of the page, in a separate section labeled Unidentified Markers, there was a single line, Canis lupus, unidentified variant, 0.2%. I stared at it for a solid 30 seconds. Then I opened another browser tab and Googled Canis lupus. The first result was from Wikipedia. Canis lupus is the scientific name for the gray wolf. I laughed out loud. My cubicle neighbor, Jennifer, looked over. What's funny? My DNA test says I'm part wolf, I said, showing her my screen. She squinted at it. That's weird. Is that even possible? It's obviously a glitch. These tests aren't exactly known for their accuracy. But Jennifer was already Googling it on her phone. It says here that humans and wolves share like 98% of their DNA anyway, so maybe it's just picking up on that? Or maybe the lab tech was drunk when they processed my sample. I screenshot the results and texted it to Marcus with the caption, "Do I win the $100 or what?" He responded immediately, "Bro, you're a werewolf wolf face." Emma's response was more practical, "That's definitely an error. You should call them." She was right, of course. So I called the customer service number listed on the website. After 20 minutes of hold music, a bored-sounding woman named Patricia answered. "Hi, yeah, I got my DNA results back and there's something weird on here," I said. "Weird how?" "It says I'm 0.2% wolf. Like, the animal." There was a pause. "Can you read me your confirmation number?" I did. I heard typing on her end. "Okay, Mr. Morrison, I see your results here. The Canis lupus marker is, That is unusual. So it's a mistake?" More typing. Longer pause. "I'm going to escalate this to our technical team. They'll reach out to you within 3 to 5 business days." "So it is a mistake?" "Someone will be in touch, Mr. Morrison. Have a great day." She hung up before I could ask anything else. I sat there staring at my phone, feeling weirdly unsettled. Something about her tone in those last few seconds, like she'd seen something on her screen that she didn't want to talk about. But I shook it off. I posted a screenshot to Instagram with the caption, "Apparently I'm a werewolf now, wolf face with tears of joy," and went back to work. By the end of the day, I'd gotten 47 likes and a dozen comments ranging from "That's hilarious" to "Bro, you need to get a refund." That night, Emma came over to my apartment. We ordered Thai food and watched some Netflix show I wasn't really paying attention to. She was curled up against me on the couch, and everything felt normal. Safe. Boring in the best possible way. "Do you ever think about doing something crazy?" she asked during a commercial break. "Like what?" "I don't know. Quitting your job and backpacking through Europe. Getting a motorcycle. Moving to Costa Rica and opening a surf shop." "You hate surfing." "That's not the point." She poked my ribs. "The point is doing something unexpected. Something that makes you feel alive." "I feel alive. You feel comfortable. That's different." I didn't have a good response to that, so I just kissed her forehead and pressed play on the show. But her words stuck with me. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was too comfortable, too predictable, too boring. I had no idea that in a few weeks, I'd be begging for boring back. The changes started small. So small I didn't even notice them at first. It was about a week after I got the DNA results. I woke up one morning and immediately knew that my downstairs neighbor, Mr. Patel, was making curry. Not just that there was a food smell, I could identify every ingredient. Turmeric, cumin, coriander, ginger, garlic, tomatoes, chicken. I could smell it so clearly it was like I was standing in his kitchen. I mentioned it to Emma when she called me during her lunch break. "That's just because you're hungry," she said. "Your brain is playing tricks on you." Maybe. But the next day, I could smell Mrs. Chen's laundry detergent from 3 apartments away. The day after that, I could tell which of my coworkers had eaten fast food for lunch just by walking past their desks. My sense of smell had become so acute it was almost painful. The break room coffee that used to smell normal now smelled like burnt chemicals. Someone's perfume in the elevator made me gag. Then my hearing changed. I started wearing earplugs to sleep because I could hear everything. The couple arguing 2 floors above me. Cars driving by on the street. A dog barking 6 blocks away. During the day at work, the fluorescent lights buzzed so loudly I got constant headaches. The clicking of keyboards sounded like jackhammers. "You should see a doctor," Emma said when I told her. "That's not normal. It's probably just stress." "Since when are you stressed?" "Good question. My job was boring, not stressful. My life was easy. So why did I feel like every nerve in my body was firing at maximum capacity?" If you're enjoying this story so far, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps us keep making these videos, and it lets me know you want more stories like this. Drop a comment and tell me, would you want to know if you had wolf DNA, or would you rather stay in the dark? The cravings started in week 2. I'd been a pretty normal eater my whole life. Sure, I liked a good burger, but I also ate salads, pasta, whatever Emma suggested when we went out to dinner. I wasn't picky. Then one day I walked past a steakhouse and almost passed out. The smell of cooking meat hit me like a physical force. My mouth started watering so badly I had to duck into an alley and spit. My hands were shaking. My heart was racing. I felt like I hadn't eaten in weeks even though I'd had lunch 2 hours ago. I went into the restaurant, some fancy place I definitely couldn't afford, and ordered a steak. "How would you like that cooked?" the waiter asked. "Rare. Very rare." When it arrived, it was perfect. Still red in the middle, blood pooling on the plate. I didn't even use a knife and fork. I just picked it up and tore into it, barely chewing, just swallowing chunks of meat like I was some kind of animal. The waiter looked horrified. The couple at the next table stopped talking and stared at me. I didn't care. It was the best thing I'd ever tasted. I went back the next day. And the day after that. Within a week, I'd spent over $300 on steak. My credit card bill was going to be brutal, but I couldn't stop. I needed it. Craved it in a way that felt primal and uncontrollable. Emma noticed, of course. We were at her apartment, and she'd made this elaborate vegetarian pasta dish. She'd been vegetarian since college, something about watching a documentary on factory farming. I'd always supported it, eaten whatever she cooked without complaint. But that night, I could barely touch the pasta. It tasted like cardboard. My whole body was screaming for meat. "You hate it," Emma said quietly. "No, I don't, it's good, I'm just..." "You're just what, Jake? You've been acting so weird lately. You're always tired, you're irritable, you won't tell me what's going on. And now you won't even eat my food?" "I'm sorry. I think I might be coming down with something." "You've been coming down with something for 2 weeks." She stood up and started clearing the plates, even though neither of us had finished eating. I followed her into the kitchen. "Emma, come on. Don't be like this." "Be like what?" "Concerned about my boyfriend who's been acting like a completely different person?" "I'm not a different person." She turned to face me, and I saw real fear in her eyes. "Jake, last night you were growling in your sleep." "What?" "Growling. Like an animal. It woke me up and I couldn't get back to sleep because I was so freaked out." I don't remember that." "Of course you don't. You don't remember anything lately." She crossed her arms. "I think we should take a break." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. "Emma, please. I know I've been off, but I'm figuring it out. Just give me a little more time." "Time to what? Turn into someone I don't recognize?" She shook her head. "I love you, Jake. But I can't do this right now. Whatever you're going through, you need to deal with it on your own." I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell her she was overreacting, that everything would be fine. But looking at her face, the way she was standing with her arms wrapped around herself like she needed protection from me, I knew she was right. "Okay," I said quietly. "I'll go." I grabbed my jacket and left. On the drive home, I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. There was this rage building inside me, hot and sharp and completely irrational. I wanted to punch something. Break something. Run until my legs gave out. Instead, I went home and tried to sleep. But Emma's words kept echoing in my head. Growling in your sleep. Like an animal. That night, I had the dream for the first time. I was running through a forest, faster than I'd ever moved in my life. The trees were blurs of shadow on either side of me. The moon was full overhead, so bright it hurt to look at. And I wasn't alone. There were others running with me, shapes I couldn't quite make out, moving on 4 legs instead of 2. I woke up gasping, tangled in my sheets, my heart hammering. My bedroom window was open. I never opened that window. It was November, too cold for that. I got up and closed it, then noticed the muddy footprints on my floor. Leading from the window to my bed. My footprints. The next day, I got a phone call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Mr. Morrison? A woman's voice, professional and calm. Yeah? This is Dr. Sarah Chen from GenePrint Analytics. I'm calling about your DNA test results. We'd like to discuss them with you in person. You mean the wolf thing? Look, I figured it was just a mistake. It's not a mistake, Mr. Morrison. I really think we should meet. Are you available today? There was something in her tone that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Why? What's going on? I'd prefer to discuss this face to face. Can you come to our facility this afternoon? Say, 3 o'clock? I should have said no. I should have hung up and blocked the number. But I was scared, confused, and desperate for answers. Fine. Text me the address. She did. It was an office building downtown, 40 minutes from my apartment. I called in sick to work, which was becoming a habit, and drove there in a daze. The GenePrint Analytics office was on the 12th floor. Sterile white walls, generic modern furniture, the kind of place that could have been a law firm or a dental practice. Dr. Chen met me in the lobby. She was in her 40s, Asian, wearing a white lab coat over business casual clothes. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Mr. Morrison. Thank you for coming. Follow me, please. She led me down a hallway to a small conference room. There was a laptop on the table, already open to what looked like medical scans and charts. Please, sit. I sat. She closed the door and took the seat across from me. I'm going to be direct with you, Jake. The marker we found in your DNA, the Canis lupus variant, is extremely rare. In fact, we've only identified it in 40 people worldwide. What does that mean? We're not entirely sure. But we've been tracking these individuals for the past 5 years, and there's a pattern. She turned the laptop toward me. 12 of them have gone missing. The screen showed a series of photographs. Different people, different ages, different ethnicities. But there was something similar in their eyes. Something wild. Missing how? They disappeared near wilderness areas. State parks, national forests, mountain ranges. Always during a full moon. And always without a trace. She pulled up another file. This is Richard Kowalski. He was a high school teacher in Oregon. He got his DNA results in March of 2019. 6 months later, he didn't show up for work. His car was found abandoned at the entrance to Mount Hood National Forest. Search and rescue spent 2 weeks looking for him. They found nothing. She clicked to the next photo. This is Mei Lin. She was a graduate student in California. Vanished in 2020. Her backpack was found near Yosemite, but no other trace of her. Click. David Martinez. Gone in 2021. Last seen heading into the Appalachian Trail. She went through all 12 of them. Teachers, students, office workers, parents. All of them normal people who took a DNA test, got the same result I did, and then vanished. What happened to them? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. We don't know. But we have theories. She closed the laptop. Jake, I need to ask you some questions, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Have you noticed any physical changes lately? I hesitated. Then nodded. Tell me. So I did. The enhanced senses, the cravings, the lost time, the muddy footprints, the dreams. She listened without interrupting, occasionally making notes on a tablet. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. The full moon is in 8 days, she finally said. So? So we need to prepare. We have a facility about an hour from here. It's secure, monitored, designed specifically for situations like yours. You can stay there during the full moon. You'll be safe. More importantly, everyone else will be safe. Wait, are you saying I'm dangerous? I'm saying we don't know what happens during the transformation. None of the people we've monitored have agreed to stay under observation during a full moon. They all insisted they could handle it on their own. And then they disappeared. Transformation? You think I'm going to turn into a werewolf? I think you're going to experience something significant, and I think you shouldn't be alone when it happens. I stood up so fast my chair fell over. This is insane. You're insane. I'm leaving. Jake, please. No. No, I'm not listening to this anymore. You're telling me I'm some kind of monster based on a DNA test? You're telling me I'm going to disappear like those other people? This is crazy. I stormed out of the conference room, down the hallway, into the elevator. Dr. Chen followed me, calling my name, but I jabbed the close door button until the door slid shut. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. Part of me wanted to believe she was lying, that this was some elaborate scam. But another part of me, the part that had been growing stronger and wilder over the past few weeks, knew she was telling the truth. I drove home in a fog. When I got to my apartment, I locked all the doors and windows, closed all the curtains, and sat on my couch in the dark. I didn't turn on any lights. Didn't turn on the TV. Just sat there, listening to my heartbeat, feeling the blood moving through my veins. My phone buzzed. Email from Dr. Chen, please reconsider. Let us help you. The facility is safe. You'll be monitored by medical professionals. You don't have to go through this alone. I deleted it. Another email came through a few minutes later, this one with an attachment. Security footage. The timestamp said it was from 3 nights ago, 3:17 a.m. The location was listed as Morrison Residence Exterior. I opened the video file. It showed my apartment building from the outside. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then a figure emerged from the shadows near the back entrance. It took me a moment to realize it was me. I was wearing the same pajamas I'd gone to bed in, but I was walking strangely, hunched over, moving on all fours. As I got closer to the camera, I looked up, and my eyes reflected the light like an animal's. Then I disappeared into the darkness. I watched it 3 more times, feeling sick to my stomach. I had no memory of this. None at all. I spent the next 3 days trying to research what was happening to me. I went down every internet rabbit hole I could find. Werewolf mythology, genetic mutations, clinical lycanthropy, ancient curses. Most of it was nonsense. But buried in forums and obscure academic papers, I found references to something called genetic memory, the idea that traumatic experiences could be encoded in DNA and passed down through generations. I started thinking about my family history. My parents died when I was 19, car accident, nothing mysterious about it. But I'd never known much about my extended family. My mom rarely talked about her parents, and when she did, it was always vague. They came from the old country, she'd say. They had a hard life. I found my mom's old photo albums in a box in my closet. Most of the pictures were of me as a kid, school photos, and birthday parties. But at the very bottom, I found something else, a faded black and white photograph of a group of people standing in front of a small stone building. Mountains in the background. Everyone dressed in old-fashioned clothes from maybe the 1940s or 50s. On the back, in my mom's handwriting, Mama's Village. Vlsai 1952. I googled Vlsai. The first result was a Wikipedia article in Czech. I ran it through Google Translate. Vlsai was a small village in the Šumava mountains of Czechoslovakia. In October 1952, the entire village was evacuated by government order. Official records cite an environmental contamination incident, but no details were ever released. The village remains abandoned to this day. Access to the area is restricted. I kept digging. Found an old newspaper article from a Prague paper, also from 1952. The translation was rough, but I got the gist. Tragedy in Vlsai village sealed by military. Residents relocated. Government spokesman refuses to comment on nature of incident. Another article, this one from a conspiracy theory blog. The Vlsai incident is one of the great mysteries of Cold War Czechoslovakia. Locals in surrounding areas reported hearing howling in the mountains for months before the evacuation. Some claim to have seen creatures moving through the forest at night. One survivor who spoke anonymously to a Western journalist in 1968 said the village had been cursed for generations, that the curse had finally come to claim them all. I stared at that last paragraph for a long time. Cursed for generations. Creatures in the forest. Howling in the mountains. My great-grandmother had come from that village. She'd fled in 1952, right when whatever happened there went down. She'd carried something with her, not just memories, but something deeper. Something written into her DNA. And now I had it too. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about those 12 people who'd disappeared. About the security footage of me crawling around like an animal. About Emma telling me I growled in my sleep. About Dr. Chen's offer of a secure facility. Around 2 a.m., I made a decision. I wasn't going to let them lock me up. I wasn't going to become another disappeared person in their files. But I also wasn't stupid enough to think I could just ignore this. I needed to face it. On my own terms. I started packing a bag. Camping gear, flashlight, rope, water bottles, protein bars. And one more thing, a heavy chain and padlock from the hardware store down the street. If I was going to lose control, I wanted to at least try to contain myself. I found a forest preserve about an hour north of the city. Remote, no hiking trails nearby, just dense woods and nobody around for miles. I drove up there during the day to scout it out, found a clearing with a big tree in the middle. Perfect. The full moon was 2 days away. I tried to call Emma, but she didn't pick up. I left her a voicemail. Hey, it's me. I know you said you needed space, and I respect that. I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry for everything. You were right, I have been different. But I'm dealing with it. I promise. And Emma? I love you. I hope you know that. I hung up and immediately felt stupid. What was that supposed to accomplish? She probably thought I was having some kind of breakdown. Maybe I was. Dr. Chen called me the next day. I let it go to voicemail. She called again an hour later. And again that evening. The fourth time I finally answered. What? Jake, please. Let us help you. I don't need your help. You're making a mistake. Whatever you're planning to do, it's not safe. Neither is letting you lock me in a cage so you can study me like a lab rat. That's not what we. I saw the way you talked about those other people. You don't want to help them. You want to understand them. Figure out how we work so you can sell that information to whoever's funding your research. There was a long pause. That's not entirely fair. But it's not entirely wrong either, is it? Another pause. Jake, we genuinely want to keep you safe. And if you won't do it for yourself, think about the other people. If you lose control. I won't. You can't guarantee that. She was right, of course. But I didn't care. I hung up and blocked her number. The next day was the longest of my life. I couldn't focus on anything. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. My body felt like it was vibrating, every cell buzzing with energy I didn't know what to do with. I took 3 cold showers and went for a run that lasted 2 hours, and I still felt like I was going to crawl out of my skin. As the sun started to set, I grabbed my bag and drove to the forest preserve. I parked at the trailhead and hiked to the clearing I'd found. The moon was already rising, huge and silver and impossibly bright. Just looking at it made my heart race. I wrapped the chain around the tree trunk, then around my waist, and locked the padlock. Tested it. Solid. I sat down with my back against the tree and waited. The sun dropped below the horizon. The forest got dark. And something inside me started to change. It started with pain. Not the sharp kind, but something deeper and worse. My bones felt like they were shifting, reshaping, growing. My skin burned. My muscles cramped. I doubled over, gasping, trying not to scream. The chain rattled as I thrashed against it. The padlock held. My senses exploded. I could smell everything, the sap in the tree, the decomposing leaves on the ground, a deer moving through the woods half a mile away. I could hear the beating of my own heart, the rush of blood in my veins, the breathing of small animals hidden in burrows underground. And then my mind started to fracture. Human thoughts got mixed up with something else, something primal and instinctive and hungry. I was Jake Morrison, IT support specialist, 28 years old, born in Chicago. But I was also something older, something that had run through these woods for thousands of years, something that knew the language of the hunt. The chain snapped. I didn't break it on purpose. I don't think I even realized I was pulling against it. But 1 second it was holding me to the tree, and the next it was lying in pieces on the ground. I stood up. My body felt different, stronger, faster, more alive than ever before. The full moon called to me, pulling me forward into the darkness of the forest. And I ran. I don't know how long I ran. Hours, maybe. Maybe the whole night. Time didn't mean anything anymore. There was only the movement, the speed, the wind in my face and the earth under my feet. I wasn't on 2 legs anymore, I was on 4, my hands and feet moving in perfect rhythm. Part of me knew this should terrify me, but the rest of me felt free in a way I'd never experienced. I hunted. Not people, thank God, not people. But I chased down a rabbit, caught it in my teeth, felt the warm blood on my tongue. It should have disgusted me. Instead, it felt right. Natural. This was what I was meant to do. As dawn approached, the wildness started to fade. My mind came back slowly, like waking up from anesthesia. I was lying on the forest floor, naked except for my torn pajama pants, covered in dirt and scratches and dried blood that I hoped was from the rabbit. I stumbled back to my car, took me an hour to find it, and drove home. That's when I ended up standing in my backyard at 5:47 in the morning, with Mrs. Chen staring at me from her window. I went inside, took a shower so hot it almost scalded me, and collapsed into bed. I slept for 14 hours straight. When I finally woke up, my phone was dead. I plugged it in and waited for it to charge. 47 missed calls. Most from Dr. Chen, a few from Emma, several from numbers I didn't recognize. I checked the local news on my laptop, terrified I'd see headlines about animal attacks or missing hikers. But there was nothing. No one hurt. No damage except to myself. I'd survived. More importantly, I'd survived without hurting anyone else. I called Emma. This time she picked up. Jake? Oh my God, I've been trying to reach you all day. Are you okay? I'm okay. Your voicemail scared me. You sounded so. I don't know. Final. Like you were saying goodbye. I wasn't. I'm okay, Emma. I promise. Can I see you? Yeah. Come over whenever. She arrived an hour later. I'd cleaned myself up, put on fresh clothes, tried to look as normal as possible. But when she walked in and looked at me, I saw the fear flash across her face again. "You're different," she said quietly. "I know. What happened to you?" So I told her. Everything. The DNA test, the changes, Dr. Chen's warnings, the village in Czechoslovakia, the transformation. I expected her to think I was crazy, to walk out and never come back. Instead, she sat down next to me and took my hand. "That's the craziest thing I've ever heard," she said. "I know. But I believe you." I looked at her, surprised. "Really? Jake, I've known you for 3 years. You're the most rational, skeptical person I've ever met. If you're telling me you turn into a werewolf during the full moon, then either you've completely lost your mind or it's actually true. And you don't seem crazy. Just scared." I felt my eyes getting wet. I hadn't cried in years, but suddenly I couldn't stop. Emma pulled me into a hug and let me fall apart. "What am I going to do?" I asked when I could finally speak again. "We'll figure it out. Together." "You're not scared of me?" "I'm terrified. But I'm not leaving." Over the next few weeks, we did figure it out. I learned to manage the changes between full moons, the heightened senses, the cravings, the restlessness. Emma helped me meal prep huge batches of steak so I didn't blow my entire paycheck at restaurants. I started running every morning before work, burning off some of the excess energy. And when the next full moon came, I went back to that forest clearing. This time I brought a stronger chain. Thicker links, better padlock. It held. Dr. Chen kept trying to contact me, but I never responded. I didn't need her facility or her researchers or her promises of safety. I had Emma, and I had myself, and that was enough. I did start researching my family history more seriously. Found some distant cousins in the Czech Republic through a genealogy website. One of them, an older woman named Irina, agreed to video chat with me. "You want to know about Vlsidul?" she asked in heavily accented English. "Why?" "My great-grandmother came from there. I'm trying to understand what happened." Irina's face darkened. "It was a curse. An old curse, from before the village existed. The land itself was cursed. The people who lived there, they carried it in their blood. Every few generations, someone would change. Become something else. The village had ways to manage it, rituals and precautions. But during the war, those traditions were lost. And without them, what happened? Everyone changed at once. The whole village. Under the full moon in October 1952. The government had to intervene. They sealed the area, relocated the survivors, destroyed all the records. Your great-grandmother was one of the lucky ones. She got out before it happened. But she carried the gene. Yes. And now you have it too. Irina leaned closer to the camera. Be careful, Jake. The curse demands respect. Follow the old ways, stay away from people during the full moon, never hunt where you live, always return to yourself by dawn. Do this, and you can live a normal life. Ignore it, and... She made a gesture like an explosion. After we hung up, I sat there thinking about her words. The old ways. Respect for the curse. Maybe that's what happened to those 12 people who disappeared, they didn't respect it. They tried to fight it or deny it or use it for their own purposes, and it consumed them. I wouldn't make that mistake. 6 months have passed since that first transformation. I've learned to live with what I am. The full moons are still intense, still terrifying in their own way, but I'm in control now. I know my limits. I know how to prepare. Emma and I are still together. She comes with me to the forest sometimes, camps nearby in the car where it's safe, just so I know someone's there when I wake up in the morning. She's tougher than I ever gave her credit for. My job still bores me. I still eat too much steak. I still play video games on weekends. But Emma was right about one thing, I'm not comfortable anymore. I'm alive. Really, truly alive in a way I never was before. Last week, I got an email from someone I didn't recognize. Subject line, I got the wolf gene too. The message was short, my name is Maria. I'm in Seattle. I got my DNA results 3 months ago and I'm scared. Dr. Chen keeps calling me but I don't trust her. I found your information through some genealogy forums. Please, if you're out there, if you figured out how to deal with this, I need help. I stared at that email for a long time. Then I forwarded it to Emma. What do you think? I texted her. She responded immediately, help her. So I did. I wrote back to Maria, told her my story, gave her the advice Irina had given me. A week later, I got a response, I survived my first full moon. Thank you. You saved my life. Since then, I've heard from 3 more people. All of them have the gene. All of them are scared and confused and desperate for someone who understands. Dr. Chen's facility might work for some people, but for others, for people like me, what we need is community. Connection. Someone who's been through it and come out the other side. I'm not a werewolf in the Hollywood sense. I don't have super strength or immortality or a weakness to silver bullets. I'm just a guy with a genetic mutation that causes dramatic physical and psychological changes during the full moon. It's a medical condition, basically. A weird one, sure, but manageable. And maybe that's what those 12 missing people needed. Not a research facility or a cure, but just someone to tell them it was going to be okay. That they could survive this. That they weren't monsters. I think about them sometimes, those 12 people. I wonder if they really disappeared or if they just ran away, started new lives somewhere the moon could call to them without consequence. Part of me hopes that's true. That they're out there somewhere, free and wild and alive. But I also know that's probably wishful thinking. The curse is real. The danger is real. And without the right precautions, without respect for what we are, it can destroy you. I'm not special. I'm not brave. I'm just a guy who took a DNA test as a joke and found out I was 2% wolf. But that 2% changed everything. My name is Jake Morrison. I'm 28 years old. I work in IT support. I have a girlfriend who loves me despite everything. And once a month, when the moon is full, I become something else. Something ancient and wild and free. I've learned to live with the wolf inside me. More than that, I've learned to accept it. It's part of who I am now. Part of my story. And honestly, I wouldn't change it even if I could. Because Emma was right. I was too comfortable before. Too predictable. Too boring. The curse didn't ruin my life. In a weird way, it saved it. So if you're out there and you got the same DNA results I did, if you're scared and confused and don't know what to do, reach out. Find others like you. Learn the old ways. Respect what you are. And whatever you do, don't let people like Dr. Chen convince you that you're a problem that needs to be solved. You're not a problem. You're just different. And different doesn't mean dangerous. It just means you're finally awake. Now, I want to ask you something. If you made it this far in the story, you clearly enjoyed it. And you know what? Dr. Sarah Chen would hate that. Remember her? The woman who wanted to lock me up, study me like a lab experiment, treat people with this gene like specimens instead of human beings? She wanted to control us, cage us, strip away our freedom in the name of science. If you don't like this video, if you don't subscribe, comment, and share it, you're basically agreeing with Dr. Chen. You're saying that people like me deserve to be locked away instead of living our truth. I know you're better than that. So hit that subscribe button, smash the like, drop a comment telling me what you thought of Jake's story, and share this with someone who loves a good supernatural tale. Show Dr. Chen and everyone like her that you stand with people who are just trying to survive. Show them you believe in freedom over control. Thanks for watching. And remember, we're all carrying something in our DNA. Some secret, some hidden truth that makes us who we are. The question isn't whether you have it. The question is whether you're brave enough to face it when it finally reveals itself. Until next time, stay wild.